Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Welcome to another episode of Madrasty Science Club broadcast. Here is Mariam Shref, a petroleum engineer from Lebanon, and I will be your broadcaster for today's episode, which will be about topics in chemistry. We're having with us today Julie, Yusuf, Tuta, Basil, and Saif. So please, can I ask you to introduce yourselves, and we will start with Julie.
Hello, my name is Julie. I'm 9 years old and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Tuta.
Hi, my name is Tuta. I'm 13 and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Yusuf.
Hello, my name is Yusuf. I'm 14 and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Saif.
Hello, I'm Saif. I'm 14 and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And we still have Basil.
I'm Vessel. I'm 10 years old. I'm fifth grade and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Basil. So thank you for joining us. And as usual, I'll be doing the following. I'll be asking you some questions related to chemistry, and we'll be hearing from you your thoughts and insights regarding the topic or question being asked. So are you excited to start?
Yeah.
Okay. The first question is, Julie, can you define what is an atom? Can you define an atom?
An atom is the basic building block for all matter in the universe. And also atoms are extremely small and are made up of a few even smaller particles.
Thank you. Saif, can you explain or describe the structure of an atom?
Well, in the center of an atom, you'll have protons and neutrons. And then around that, you'll have electron rings, and those electron rings will have varying amounts, but the atom is mostly empty besides that.
Yes, exactly. Now, Yusuf, can I ask you, how are the atoms in a solid packed?
Okay, so atoms in a solid are packed really tightly together, which is why the solid can maintain its shape.
Yes, exactly. And Basil, how are the atoms in a gas packed?
The atoms in a gas are really far from each other. That's why it's a gas.
True. So, as you said, as Julie said, the atom is the basic building block for all matter in the universe. And as Saif said, the structure of an atom, at the center we have the nucleus, and the nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons, and the electrons spin in orbits around the outside of the nucleus. And of course, solids are made up of densely packed atoms, while gases have atoms that are more spread out. Now moving to electrons. So Tuta, can you explain what is an electron?
Electrons revolve around atoms. They're in shells. Each atom has a different number of electrons, and electrons are negative.
Exactly. Thank you. Now, Julie, do you know if electrons are positively charged or negatively charged?
They're negatively.
Excellent. So electrons, they are stable negatively charged components of an atom. And they usually, as Julie said, they carry 1 unit of negative charge. Now moving to protons. Yusuf, can you explain what is a proton?
So a proton is part of an atom. They are found in the nucleus of an atom along with the neutrons. And protons generally show what element an atom will represent, because the amount of protons varies in each atom. So one proton could be hydrogen, while another amount of protons could be another element.
Great, thank you. And Saif, do you think do electrons have greater mass than protons, or vice versa?
What do you mean by vice versa? Like,
do protons have greater mass than electrons, or do electrons have greater mass than protons?
well, electrons don't have mass. They simply phase in and out of existence. So protons will always have more mass.
Yes, exactly. So a proton is a stable subatomic particles occurring in all atomic nuclei. They are positively charged, and protons and neutrons, they have approximately the same mass, but they are both much, much more massive than an electron, approximately 2,000 times as massive as an electron. Now, Basil, is the negative or is the positive charge on a proton equal in magnitude to the negative charge on an electron?
Yes.
Exactly, true. So the positive charge on any proton is equal in magnitude to the negative charge on any electron. Now we move to an element. Tuta, can you define what is an element?
Elements are made up of atoms, and if you put a lot of atoms together, then it would make an element.
Exactly. So an atom is a pure substance that is made up of a single type of atoms. And elements are the building blocks for all the rest of the matter in the world. Yusuf, can you give me an example of some elements?
Yeah, sure. So we have magnesium, hydrogen, helium, iron, gold, zinc, stuff like that. Those are all elements.
Yes, true. Thank you. Do you know, or does someone know what is the most common element found in the universe?
Hydrogen.
Exactly. Hydrogen is the most common element found in the universe. Now, do you know what is an important number in an element?
The amount of protons.
Yes, and what do we usually call it or name it?
The atomic number.
Yes, exactly. So an important number in an atom is the atomic number, and it refers to the number of protons in each atom. And of course, hydrogen has an atomic number as being 1 because it has 1 proton. Now, Tuta, do you know what are the families of some elements?
What do you mean families of elements, like groups in the periodic table?
Yes.
Okay, well, the periodic table is divided into groups. They're like columns, and it's also divided into periods. They're rows. So if you want to find elements, you have to look for what row it's in and what column it's in.
Yes, true. Exactly. So elements are sometimes grouped together because they have similar properties in the periodic table. So we have the noble gases such as helium, and we have the alkali metals. These elements have just 1 electron in the outer shell of their atom, and they are very reactive, such as sodium and potassium. And of course, we have the other groups, the transition metals and non-metals, and alkali earth metals. Now we move to a chemical bond. Julie, can you explain what is a chemical bond?
A chemical bonds are what joins atoms together.
True, exactly. So they are the forces that holds atoms together as molecules, and they are referred to as a chemical bond. Saif, can you give some types of chemical bonds?
Well, there's hydrogen bonds, there's ionic bonds. Those are the two I mostly know of.
Yes, exactly. So we have the hydrogen bonds, and they are polarized with two adjacent water molecules that can form a linkage known as the hydrogen bond. And we have the covalent bond. They are the most common bonds in organic molecules. And we have the ionic bonding, which involves a transfer of an electron, where one atom gains electron and another atom loses an electron. And finally, we have the polar bond. It's when two atoms are connected by a covalent bond that exert different attractions for the electrons in the bond, producing an unevenly distributed charge. Now moving to an ion. Basil, can you define what is an ion?
An ion is any group of atoms that has one or more positive or negative electrical charge.
Yes, exactly. So an atom is an electrically charged atom or a group of atoms. Yusuf, do you know what do we call the positive ions?
No.
So positive ions are usually called cations, and negative ions are called, or they are referred to as anions. So, Saif, do you know what is the difference between an ion and the normal atom?
Atoms are a grouping of particles, but an ion is by itself and has its own charge as the overall.
Yes, exactly. So a normal atom, it has a neutral charge, so it doesn't have nor positive nor negative charge with equal, it has equal number of positive and negative particles. On the other hand, an ion, they have extra electrons or missing electrons, meaning they are either positive or negatively charged. Now moving to a reactant. Tuta, can you explain what is a reactant in a chemical reaction? Yes.
They're the things you use to make a chemical reaction, and the things that's come out of the chemical reaction are called products.
Yes. So a reactant is any substance that is consumed or used during a reaction. Okay, moving to a balance scale. So moving to density, yes. Density. So Julie, can you define what is a density? What is density?
Density is a word we use to describe how much space an object or substance takes up, its volume in relation to the amount of matter in that object or substance.
Great. So density is the amount of mass per unit volume. Tuta, do you know what is the unit of measurement for density? So Yusuf, do you know what is the unit of measurement of density?
Is it volume?
Yeah, so it's mass per unit volume, so it's kilogram over meter cube, or gram per centimeter cube. So Saif, do you know what is the density of water?
It's like not it's like something around 9.
Yes, so it's not actually no, it's 1 gram per centimeter cube, or 1,000 kilogram per meter cube. We're moving to the scale and the mass. Yes. Basil, can you tell me why do we use the balance scale?
Okay, we use the balance scale to weigh things like those stones that are on the ground, because we know how much they weigh, so we can put them on the scale. So since we know this, maybe the stone weighs 1 kilogram. So when we put watermelon, maybe we find that it goes down and 1 kilogram rock goes up, then this means that watermelon is more heavy than 1 kilogram. So you add more, and then we find it's equal. So you know how much watermelon weighs.
Okay, thank you for this great explanation. Tuta, can you define what is mass?
Okay, sure. Mass is kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like weight. So,
okay,
so the amount of matter an object contains. So it's kind of like weight, but it's different.
Yes, so mass is the amount of matter an object contains, and the more matter something has, the more weight, the more it will weigh. But mass is different than weight. So mass is the amount of matter in the material, while weight is the measure of how the force of gravity acts upon that mass. So, for example, if someone on the surface of the moon has a 70 kilogram mass, for example, an astronaut, he would weigh only 112 newtons. So this is about an 11.5 kilogram object one would weigh on Earth. So mass is different than weight. Now moving to an acid. So Yusuf, can you explain what is an acid?
So an acid is a substance that can donate a hydrogen ion, which is like H+, to another substance. And
Exactly.
one more thing, please. Any substance that has a pH lower than 7 is an acid.
Exactly. So it's a substance that can donate one or more hydrogen ions to another substance, and anything below any pH below 7 is considered acidic. Saif, can you give some examples of acids?
I mean, you have like citric acid in oranges.
Yes, exactly. And we have the lactic acid in milk. So, Saif, what is the opposite of an acid?
The opposite of an acid is a base.
Are called bases. So, Basil, can you explain what is an alkaline substance?
Yes, an alkaline is a base that can dissolve in water.
Exactly. Safe, are alkaline substances acidic or basic? Like they are considered strong bases or strong acids?
They're considered strong bases.
Exactly. So alkaline substances, they are strong bases. So such as sodium hydroxide with pH equals to 14. And it's any soluble hydroxides of alkali metals such as lithium, sodium, and potassium. Okay, so by this, we conclude our session today. I hope that you all learned something new today. So did you learn something new?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So thank you, Julie. Thank you, Saif. Thank you, Basil and Tuta. And thank you, Yusuf. I hope you all enjoyed this session today and learned something new. Now have a nice day, and see you next Saturday with a new episode on a new topic.
All
See
right.
you.
See ya.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.